We got
I
this.
don't want to be a hero.
No, we got this, Max.
No,
You're a
I
champion.
don't have it.
You're a champion. Stop it.
I don't have it.
Stop it.
Drawn guns, armed deputies, a Queen's fortress surrounded again. But this time, the trail doesn't lead to some anonymous caller. It leads straight to a billionaire mogul who Nicki says has been orchestrating her destruction from the shadows. What Jay-Z allegedly did next changed everything. The Queen's fortress is under siege. Picture this. You're Nicki Minaj. You've sold over 100 million records worldwide. You've bodied every feature you've ever touched. You've shattered chart records that people said no female rapper would ever break. And you've stacked enough bread to cop a $20 million mansion in Hidden Hills. The same gated community where the Kardashians lay their heads, where security is supposed to be airtight, and privacy is supposed to be guaranteed. You're supposed to be untouchable behind those gates. But instead, you keep waking up to flashing red and blue lights, drawn weapons pointed at your front door, tactical vehicles parked on your manicured lawn, and helicopters circling your roof like your public enemy number one. Except you haven't done a single thing wrong. Not once. Somebody, and Nicki believes she knows exactly who, keeps calling the cops on you for fake emergencies, phantom shootings, and made-up child abuse reports involving your infant son. And every single time, law enforcement rolls up deep, strapped, and ready for war on the Queen of Rap's doorstep, while the person making the calls vanishes into thin air like a ghost. That's the reality Nicki Minaj has been living for years now, and she's had enough of every last bit of it. Before we even get into the swatting, understand the history of this property being targeted. Back in February 2017, Minaj's then Hollywood Hills home on the 2600 block of Beaumont Drive was burglarized while she was out of town. Thieves walked out with $175,000 in jewelry and valuables, slashing her clothes and knocking over furniture on the way out. Vandalism for the sake of vandalism. As if the robbery itself wasn't enough. LAPD investigated. No suspects were ever identified. Nicki wasn't home, so she avoided direct physical danger. But it set a precedent, a chilling one, that her properties were targets and that whoever was doing the targeting could operate with impunity. The swatting pattern started making national headlines in 2023, and it was different from a burglary because swatting doesn't just threaten your possessions, it threatens your life and the lives of everyone in your household. On June 5, 2023, a false child abuse report was called in claiming Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty, were harming their 2-year-old son at their Hidden Hills home. Think about the calculation behind that call. Not a noise complaint, not a disturbance, but child abuse. The kind of allegation that guarantees maximum police response with maximum urgency. Deputies swarmed the estate. Armed officers showed up with weapons at the ready in a home with a toddler. They found absolutely nothing. No evidence, no crime, no victim, no signs of distress. It was a swatting hoax, calculated and deliberate. Minaj went scorched earth on social media, hiring private investigators to trace the caller and demanding answers from local law enforcement. But it didn't stop there. Not even close. Just 24 hours later, another call came in alleging a shooting at the residence. Again, completely fabricated, back-to-back hoaxes within a single day. Each one designed to bring guns to a mother's door. And then in August 2023, yet another swatting call claimed a shooting at the property, triggering a full police swarm with tactical units and crisis response teams descending on the home like it was an active war zone. No crime found. 3 times in a matter of months, someone weaponized law enforcement against Nicki Minaj's family. And 3 times the trail went cold. Nicki wasn't quiet about what she believed was happening. She went on record, making it crystal clear that these weren't random pranks.
My home swatted twice with drawn. They magically, no one seemed to find the person.
Magically is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. The Queen isn't saying this was bad luck. She's saying somebody with serious pull is making sure the trail goes cold every single time. And when you look at the timeline, the swattings don't happen in a vacuum. They align with moments when Nicki is going after very specific people in the industry. To understand why cops keep surrounding Nicki Minaj's house, you have to understand who she's been at war with and why. That war leads straight to Sean Corey Carter, Jay-Z, and his sprawling empire, Roc Nation. The beef has roots stretching back over a decade, with the foundation built on collaborative moments that gradually curdled into resentment. Minaj and Jay-Z famously appeared together on Kanye West's 2010 track Monster, where Nicki's verse didn't just hold its own. It bodied everybody on the song, including Jay-Z himself. Insiders have long whispered that this bothered him more than he ever let on. By 2012, Minaj was telling Allure magazine she aimed to surpass Jay-Z as a rap icon to dethrone him. That kind of ambition from a woman in his own genre set the stage for everything that followed, but the financial betrayal around Tidal is where the real venom starts flowing. When Jay-Z launched Tidal in 2015, he assembled an elite roster of artist owners. Minaj, Rihanna, Madonna, and J. Cole each reportedly promised 3% equity in exchange for exclusive content and promotion. Minaj was front and center at the launch event, standing shoulder to shoulder with the biggest names in music, publicly co-signing the platform. She held up her end of the deal, gave them exclusive content, promoted the service, and lent her name and credibility to the brand. But when Jay-Z sold Tidal to Jack Dorsey Square for $32 million in 2021, Minaj says the check never came. Not even close. According to her, she never received proper paperwork for her equity stake. And when the sale went through, she was offered a measly $1 million to settle, a fraction of the estimated $9 million her 3% equity stake should have been worth based on the sale price. She didn't just reject it. She went nuclear publicly and loudly.
So you're saying that Brother Billionaire would use a legal loophole to not pay a black woman that upheld her part of the bargain, then threaten her that if she didn't sign a random paper in 24 hours, she would lose out on a measly $1 million because that's what y'all were offering? I'm so glad I said no. Scare tactics and manipulation to steal what I work for.
Let that sink in. A billionaire, one of the richest men in entertainment, allegedly used a legal loophole to shortchange a woman who did exactly what was asked of her, then tried to strong-arm her into signing away her rights within a 24-hour window. That's not business. That's a shakedown. Minaj publicly demanded between $100 and $200 million, posting on X in July 2025. If someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X. The Barbs amplified the message across every platform, chanting, Jay-Z owes Nicki Minaj money and an apology. But the Tidal money is only part of it. Minaj has also alleged that Jay-Z blocked her from releasing the pink print exclusively on Tidal in 2014, which led to leaks and significant lost revenue. She further claimed he stole a beat intended for her 2018 track, Thought I Knew You, with The Weeknd and gave it to Beyoncé instead, a beat Nicki says she had already paperworked. On top of that, her collaboration with Nas on a track called Cassie No was allegedly sued out of existence, costing her hundreds of thousands of dollars, with Minaj suggesting Jay-Z's lingering resentment toward Nas, rooted in their legendary early 2000s beef, was the real motive. And then there's the swatting connection. Nicki didn't just complain about it. She drew a direct line between the harassment at her home and the people she believed were behind it.
Isn't it funny how they kept trying to say Desiree Perez's black son-in-law was abusing her daughter to get him falsely imprisoned? Remember the 3 times my home was swatted, claiming a man in the home had a gun? Does this...
Nicki is saying the playbook is the same? False reports, fabricated emergencies, and using law enforcement as a weapon against people who cross certain powerful figures. Whether that's provable in court is one thing, but the pattern she's describing is specific, detailed, and consistent across multiple incidents. When someone tells you the same entity keeps deploying the same tactic against different targets, you at least have to ask the question, Roc Nation's shadow game. If you thought the Tidal money was the whole story, you haven't been paying anywhere near close enough attention. The real war isn't just about dollars owed or equity stolen. It's about control, about who gets to eat in this industry and who gets starved out. And the weapon of choice, according to Nicki Minaj, isn't a diss track or a subliminal bar. It's an entire corporate machine operating in the shadows. Roc Nation, the management and entertainment juggernaut led by CEO Desiree Perez since 2019. Minaj has accused Perez and the organization of committing so much evil against black people and planting paid moles to sabotage her career and family. Let that phrase sit with you. Paid moles, not passive-aggressive industry cold shoulders, not behind-the-scenes whisper campaigns. Nicki is alleging active, funded infiltration of her professional and personal circles by operatives working on behalf of one of the most powerful management companies in the entire entertainment industry. This goes beyond a rap beef. This goes beyond business. She's describing something closer to a covert operation. The Super Bowl became the most visible flashpoint in this war. The moment the whole culture could see the dynamics Nicki had been describing for years play out on the biggest stage in American entertainment. Roc Nation partners with the NFL to curate major events, including the halftime show. That's not a rumor. That's a contractual relationship that gives Jay-Z's company direct influence over who performs at the most watched musical event on the planet. In 2024, when the 2025 Super Bowl LIX halftime show was announced with Kendrick Lamar instead of Lil Wayne in New Orleans, Wayne's hometown, the city that raised him, the city where he's essentially a living monument, Minaj called it disgusting and evil. She framed it as Jay-Z deliberately punishing the entire Young Money family tree because of his personal vendetta against her, tweeting, "One end took a knee, the other end, they took the bag." She wasn't alone in that assessment either. Birdman, Lil Wayne's mentor and Cash Money Records founder, backed her up publicly, calling it Hatton, __, for real. Nicki further alleged that Jay-Z was actively pushing Megan Thee Stallion, a Roc Nation snitch, while deliberately sidelining Minaj from major opportunities, awards, tour slots, and industry events. In Nicki's telling, it wasn't enough for Jay-Z to ignore her. He needed to replace her to elevate someone under his umbrella while burying the woman who refused to bend the knee. Nicki wasn't just making noise. She was dropping specifics about what she believes Roc Nation does every time they get caught in the spotlight. According to her, there's a whole distraction protocol.
Anytime Cock Nation is in the news for something they don't want you to know, few things will happen. One, Will Smith is going to appear. Two, famous person is announced dead. Three, their allies will begin to post and say nasty things about the Queen. Four, Lace Z will pop up looking.
For steps, for diversions, and a whole system of misdirection that, according to the Queen, activates like clockwork every single time Roc Nation catches heat. Will Smith's appearances, celebrity deaths, announcements, coordinated social media attacks against Nicki from industry allies, and Jay-Z himself popping up in public looking out of touch. Whether you believe the conspiracy or not, the fact that she can list out a specific numbered operational pattern and that the Barbs have tracked instances across months of news cycles that appear to line up with this exact sequence tells you how deep this rabbit hole goes in the minds of Minaj's supporters and in her own conviction. Nicki isn't just throwing darts in the dark or making vague accusations. She's presenting what she believes is a repeatable, observable playbook that she's watched deploy in real time over and over again. She's daring people to pay attention and verify it for themselves. Meanwhile, the swatting at her Hidden Hills home didn't slow down as the feud intensified. If anything, it escalated right alongside it, almost as if the two were connected on a synchronized timer. In April 2025, between April 9th and 10th, a non-9/11 call was placed reporting an assault and shooting of a black woman matching Minaj's physical description with two suspects dressed entirely in black allegedly still on the premises. The specificity of that call is worth pausing on. This wasn't a generic shots fired report. Somebody described Minaj without naming her, placed fake suspects at the scene to maximize the threat level, and did it through a non-emergency line, which suggests a level of sophistication beyond your typical internet troll. Deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department rolled up on the mansion heavy, weapons drawn, prepared for an active crime scene, only to find it completely empty. Nicki was 3,000 miles away on the East Coast at the time. This was the fourth confirmed swatting in approximately 2 years. Let that number marinate for a second. 4 times in 24 months, somebody deliberately picked up a phone, crafted a detailed false emergency report, and sent armed law enforcement officers to a mother's home where a minor child resides. Nicki publicly noted that guns had been drawn in the vicinity of her son on multiple occasions during these responses. Loaded weapons pointed at walls and doors behind which a child sleeps. She pleaded publicly for help from California Governor Gavin Newsom, who, according to Minaj, completely ignored her. Minaj blamed political corruption for the lack of response, and her fans connected the dots to Jay-Z's political relationships, noting Roc Nation's criminal justice reform work and connections to state officials. One fan post captured the frustration. Democrats and the industry went after Nicki. Her home was swatted, and Newsom offered no protection, adding fuel to the fire. Minaj's Hidden Hills address is publicly accessible due to Kenneth Petty's sex offender registration status, making the family uniquely vulnerable to this kind of harassment. While celebrities like Jennifer Aniston and Lil Wayne have faced swatting incidents, Minaj's frequency and the escalating severity of the false reports stand apart from anything else in Hollywood. Swatting costs taxpayers thousands per incident and carries a real risk of fatal outcomes. California law provides for fines up to $1,000 and jail time with escalating penalties if physical harm results. In cryptic tweets in June 2025, Minaj hinted at juicy revelations about Roc Nation's tactics, quoting her own lyrics from the band from the non-remix with Lil Wayne, NFL fire emoji. She further alleged in 2025 that Roc Nation needed a $40 million bailout and was using distractions, including the swattings, to keep the spotlight off their financial problems. She also claimed there were spies planted at her shows, including Jay-Z himself lurking nearby during her tour opener. The broader industry dynamics painted a picture of isolation. Commentators like Joe Budden and DJ Vlad called Minaj's rants delirious and desperate, suggesting she was alienating herself from the industry. But Nicki didn't care about the optics. She was fighting what she saw as a machine designed to silence her, and she wasn't about to go quietly. The Queen goes nuclear. By early 2026, Nicki Minaj had gone from throwing jabs to launching full-scale scorched earth missiles aimed directly at the foundations of Jay-Z's public image. Whatever restraint she had exercised in previous years, and honestly, there wasn't much, evaporated completely. The Grammys became the latest battleground in a war that was consuming everything around it. After getting roasted at the ceremony, Minaj unleashed on Jay-Z with a barrage of social media posts that pushed the feud into territory no one had seen before. Not from Nicki, not from any rapper going at Jay-Z. She didn't just come with bars or subliminals. She came with receipts, or at least what she presented as receipts. She posted old photographs of Jay-Z standing alongside a teenage Beyoncé and Aaliyah, labeling him a child predator in all caps and tying the images to broader incendiary allegations about his past conduct with young women in the industry. The internet caught fire. Barbs amplified every post. The Beehive mobilized in defense. Music journalists scrambled to fact-check. And when the dust settled on the photo analysis, the images were debunked. The women pictured were confirmed to be approximately 20 or 21 years old at the time the photos were taken, not minors as Minaj had implied, but the damage was already done. The posts had been seen by millions, screenshotted, shared, and embedded into the permanent record of this feud. And that was precisely Nicki's intention. She wanted the world to scrutinize Jay-Z with the same intensity the industry had used to scrutinize her for years. She also went directly at the heart of the Roc Nation operation. Desiree Perez, the CEO who had been running the ship since 2019, got called out by name. And Nicki didn't hold back.